Welcome to Rauta's geek previews and geek news from your local source. Now, one might only wonder why I'm talking about some local shows here in Turku, southwest Finland, when this is more for international audience. Let's be honest about it. Quite a big amount of Rauta's followers are from Finland, and of course, even nearby countries might be interested in some of the shows which I'm talking about here. And of course, you can pretty much figure that some of the bands announced here are touring, so this information might even be relevant to you, even if you're not in the city when some of these bands come alive to play the shows. Be it as it may, let's tune in for Metallihelvetti stuff. Now, in case you're wondering why I'm doing this for Metallihelvetti, the local promoter and gig organizer here in Turku, Finland, it's because we've been supporting one another for many years. They have been supporting Rauta since day one, and of course I've been going many of their shows throughout the years, festivals too, and done a lot of interviews with their help at these events. So I figure out, since we're all about underground metal, not so much big stuff, so why not give them a little bit of attention? So this is a official and non-profit collaboration with Metallihelvetti, doing some of the shows for the latter part of year 2025. We'll scroll through the summer party which already took place, so let's focus on what's coming ahead. Now, this comes rather quickly, and on Finnish, so this is rather rare thing to have. We are having Speed and Thrash Attack event, which is led by none other but Tankard, this boozy thrash metal name from Germany. Now, a lot of people think about their Teutonic version of Big Four, referencing to German thrash metal things, and it's always about destruction and Sodom and Creator, of course. So what is the fourth one? Well, you guessed it right, it's Tankard from Germany. And they are headlining, which is pretty interesting, never seen them alive, by the way, that they are coming to my home city and, playing some other shows as well, I think. They are being, warmed up by some local bands. By local, I mean Finnish bands like Prestige, Dethrone, Kova Rasva, and Brain Terror. Brain Terror is the only one I don't really honestly know, but I know Kova Rasva play punk stuff, and Prestige and Dethrone are kind of old school thrashier names, so we're fitting to warm up Tankard with their speed and thrash styles. And this is pretty interesting because this is actually done in a club, which is normally a nightclub, but there have been many metal shows on that. This is not the interesting point, however, but the very fact that there is this after party with the nearby club Nirvana. The first one is taking place at Apollo, and since Apollo always turns into a nightclub around midnight, so all these gigs are done by midnight, so starting rather early, like doors open at 6, and then you have these 5 bands which are done by midnight, and the after parties at Nirvana having Radux and Hidden Intent doing the final one. So 7 bands in one night, and they start just before midnight. So basically you're done with the first 5 set of bands, and then you move to have another 2 of more speedy, thrashy stuff. So maybe something for those who are coming from, even other parts of Finland, considering you have like Hidden Tent from Australia and Tanger from Germany. Pretty interesting if you ask me. Now, since pretty much everything comes to an end in terms of festivals by mid-August, it's time to roll in for the fall offerings, and to me the highlight of the whole fall in terms of events in Finland is probably this one, Cold Meat Industry Night. Now, younger generation might not have so much clue what Cold Meat Industry is all about, so I'll try to recap it quickly. It's a long gone cult label, Cold Meat Industry that is, that was known coming from Sweden, having a lot of dark ambient artists, martial industrial, neo folk, and so forth. So kind of a big player, even though we're talking about strictly underground music. delivering you artist after artist with quality music. And this is curious because it's basically almost like a throwback to the Skålen Musiikin Yhdistys, which is like an organization of dead music. The name is great, and they made a lot of interesting underground gigs, late 90s, early 2000s or so, with dark ambient, martial industrial, neo folk, etc. And this night as such is kind of a throwback thing because it's almost like 1998 or whatever, never left the building. And they're bringing some Swedish name like Brother That Now, Ryzen Data, and Desiree Marginis to Finnish soil. Some of them have played here, some of them not. And for example, Ryzen Data is one of my long-time dark ambient favorite acts. And I'm very, very stoked to see them. Let's see if I can actually throw in some interviews with these artists, because you don't really get that often any chance to talk to dark ambient acts because they don't play that much, especially in Finland. And, maybe they're not the most talkative artists in that sense. And that's why I think it would be very, very cool to share some light into that. But as with the metal bands, these are also in the box called I Do Not Know. I would like to interview Tankard for that matter, as well as these, but too soon to announce any kind of interview possibilities. But this is something that you want to see. This is the only one in Finland doing these shows. They have shows in other countries, but if you're from Finland or planning to be near Finland in 19th of September, this is the place to be. Then something totally different happens with Metal Warning and Metallihelvetti collaborating. Kamikaze Metal Attack, and this is none other but Abigail from Japan. This is one of those names that is, of course, very cult and very known to a lot of underground maniacs, but not because it's big and, one of those successful names, but more like because it's a long-time veteran act that has been doing their own stuff for decades. And this is something that is very rare to see on Nordic soils. So it's going to be interesting how these Japanese kick ass. They are warmed up by rising names such Beatrix and Death. The latter one I don't know at all. It's going to be interesting. And this is only 2 days later than the Cold Meat Industry event. Then probably the biggest of Metallihelvetti's shows in terms of black metal and all takes place in late October, when Profanatica from United States, supported by Spider from United States, come to Turku. And their blasphemous and heinous black metal is very old school from USA. So it's going to be interesting. I've seen them before, I don't know, more than a decade ago, and it was pretty interesting and solid live. So let's see what they do this time. Once again, one of those rare items on Finnish soil, so probably you want to use this chance to see them when you have the possibility. As you have probably already figured out, you can buy the tickets straight from Metallihelvetti's website. All this information here is in Finnish, obviously, like how to get the pre-tickets and what's the age limit and all. But you will also find information to their Facebook sites and whatever through this site. And of course, nowadays browsers can really easily translate all this relevant information to you in case you're coming. And we'll conclude the show with non-metal act, really. This is just for the fun and because the promoter asked me, can we throw it in even if it's not really Rauta audience stuff. It's Country-Helvetti, literally mean Country Hell 25 event. This is done with Sedate Bookings and Metallihelvetti. Bob Wayne with Manley J. Manley from United States come in December to play some country music. Don't know honestly if I'm gonna be there, but at least it's something different with their keep on trucking stuff. So as you can see, from dark ambient to country music to crazy Japanese black metal to United States based old school black metal, and of course that thrash and speed stuff I mentioned early is happening in Finland. While these are no big names, these are the real underground names, so probably the audience right there is now wondering what the fuck I'm doing in the fall. Now you know. Like I said, some of these artists are also touring in other parts of Europe, so in case I got you interested of these gigs, make sure that you put your Googling skill into good use and search for their gigs in case you are not unable to come to Finland to witness these shows. And if you have no interest in these bands whatsoever, well, it's only you to blame. Now, off you go. You will find more information on Metallihelvetti's website as well as social media sites like Facebook. So, click your information, what you need, and all that stuff. Go buy tickets and see you on tour. Bye.